Over the course of history, Americans have began to heavily rely on vehicles and roadways for their everyday travels. This has only been encouraged by the interstate system, which has made this sort of travel extremely efficient. But with a country of over 300 million people, it has become a mission for planners to design infrastructure that supports this number of travelers. Especially in big cities, this has resulted in wide, towering freeways, with massive stacking interchanges throughout their routes. So today I wanted to go through a few of the weirdest and worst interchanges I've found, giving an overview of where they are and why they're there. Before the video starts though, I want to quickly ask if you would please consider subscribing to the channel. We make geography content like this every week, so if you're interested in this type of stuff, I suggest you click the subscribe button so you don't miss any future uploads. Thank you. So obviously interchanges have gotten crazier and crazier as history has went on. It's such a hard topic because even if states and cities don't particularly want these towering messes of off and on ramps in their cities, there's basically no other choice but to build something that's going to support the traffic they're experiencing. And just leaving them outdated and untouched would be dangerous and affect the roads and cities in a different way. So with that knowledge, let's get into these crazy interchange projects. Starting with the I-96, 275, 696, and M5 interchange in Farmington Hills in Novi, Michigan. So this interchange is located in the northwest Detroit metropolitan area at the intersection of 3 different interstates and 1 state highway. Basically, there's 5 different roads all meeting at generally the same location. So the main thing that's interesting about this one is how large it is. If the interchange with 12 Mile Road is included, which I would argue it is, this is an interchange of 1.2 square miles. Putting that into perspective, your average cloverleaf interchange is going to be something like 0.2 miles or less. This interchange is unnamed and was built with the I-696 construction in the late 20th century. This entire project was chaotic from the building process to the current state, and I have another video on it that I made about a year ago. So this was a fit ending to the highway. Now, the redeeming quality about the massive interchange is that it does actually work relatively well. People that talk about it have said that even though its overall impact is large, literally, it works pretty well and results in fairly smooth driving. It's a major road crossing, so if Michigan did one thing right, it was actually making this interchange work. But you know another thing that works but is a lot less complicated? BetterHelp. This video is sponsored by BetterHelp. Is something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? Well, BetterHelp may be the answer. Starting therapy can be hard. The idea of this type of face-to-face interaction can be uncomfortable for some, and the right therapist might not be available in your area. With BetterHelp, you can complete your therapy sessions with a licensed therapist on the phone, as a video chat, or even via messaging. Whatever is most comfortable for you. If you think you might benefit from therapy, consider BetterHelp. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/beavergeography. BetterHelp can match you to one of over 30,000 therapists in their network and give you access to a wide range of expertise. All you have to do to get started is fill out a questionnaire to help assess your specific needs, and you'll get matched with your therapist within 48 hours in most cases. Scheduling is convenient, and if your first therapist doesn't feel like the right fit, you can easily switch with no additional cost. Click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/beavergeography today. Clicking that link helps support this channel, and it also gets you 10% off your first month of BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps. Thank you to BetterHelp, and let's get back to the video. Our next interchange to look at will be the Kennedy Interchange, better known as Spaghetti Junction in Louisville, Kentucky. Located just north of the downtown, this is one of the most notorious interchanges in the US, being infamous for how confusing and complicated it is. For drivers coming from any direction, it seems to just be a big mess that could send you in any direction if you don't know what you're doing. This is another 5-road intersection with I-65, 64, and 71 meeting here. It's not massive, but is more just notorious for how it drives. In 2005, plans were introduced to redesign the interchange, with the new Abraham Lincoln Bridge being built on the north side. The plans went into action so they could link that bridge into the crossing. This didn't necessarily make it any less confusing, and definitely made it look crazier on the map. The next interchange on our list is Malfunction Junction in Birmingham, Alabama. Located northwest of Birmingham's downtown at the crossing of I-20 and I-65, Malfunction Junction doesn't look like the most disgusting project on our list so far, but it's actually probably my least favorite. The main thing you'll notice about this crossing is the way the main I-20 and I-65 routes cross over each other to make it look even weirder. This works sort of like a diverging diamond interchange, where the east and westbound traffics will switch to make the exits easier. And I have nothing against it in theory, but it makes the entire thing look worse and probably function worse as well. There was major work done in 2016 to expand the struggling interchange and alleviate traffic, and multiple new ramps were added to the route to connect to surface roads and make things run smoother. But this just made the entire thing more complicated. This is known as one of the most dangerous interchanges in the country. In my opinion, it all just looks slimy. There's too many long ramps, and the way it looks almost makes me shiver. Although I will say my family has driven through this interchange this summer, and I didn't notice, so maybe it's not too bad. Finally, I wanted to go over a couple that aren't as hideous or massive, but really just interest me. The first one is the interchange between US 9 and US 44 in Poughkeepsie, New York. Located west of the downtown, directly after the crossing of the Hudson River near the waterfront, it's in a geographically difficult area and an urban zone that probably makes things difficult. Obviously, there were a lot of restraints, so New York came up with this weird-looking interchange that only looks good in theory. Basically, there are no turns across traffic needed, with the left turns only being onto one-way roads. But let me give you two examples of why this doesn't really work. First, if you're traveling northbound on US 9 and want to go westbound on US 44, you have to go under the underpass of the interchange and then use the U-turn ramp to get on US 9 southbound. From there, you can then exit onto 44. Another example would be if you're going eastbound on US 44 and want to go northbound on US 9, you must take the exit onto 9 going southbound before you make the U-turn to go north. Basically, the main problem are these U-turns, which have turned the intersection into one of the most dangerous in New York. Simply, it overcomplicates things and just turns into more chances for collisions. My opinion is that a different design would result in better traffic and less danger. Finally, I wanted to talk about the interchange between I-10 and I-110 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Now, this is probably the most normal looking interchange on our list, with it being a simple T design outside the downtown of a mid-sized metropolitan area. But when I asked people for the worst interchanges, it was mentioned multiple times. So why is this? Well, obviously the main issue is problems with traffic. On times like LSU game days, things didn't end up very good on this interchange. And there's one big thing that causes this. So if you look at the interchange zoomed out, you can see I-10 turns to the south at the interchange and continues from there, meaning the bulk of people traveling here are going to be exiting that direction and staying on the interstate there. While through the interchange, the ramps are anywhere from 2 to 1 lane wide. If you just want to stay on I-10 going east, you have to pass 2 very tight lanes as you move to the south. And if you want to get onto I-110, it goes down to 1. This has resulted in a lot of traffic jams, forcing you to sit on the old, rundown bridge for extended periods of time. It's not ideal or at all good. So that's it for today's interchanges. There are so many interesting instances across the country that we could go through, so you can expect to see this again. There are so many details that go into the planning and construction of these interchanges. Most of the ones I talked about have had major construction processes to switch them up a little bit and possibly fix them. But it's so difficult to get them right, especially in urban areas where there's so much traffic to account for. Thanks for watching. Thank you to the members this week: JL, Sir JC17, Bryson, Sturfles, Jerome McCall, Dominic Psyche, Rosebud 4, KMS162, Jeremy Jarvis, Christopher DeAngelis, Darkbird, Elijah Pass, Big Pasty, Jeremy Crone, Wolflink73, Snyder Schwein, Florida Jake, Stormy Knight, Nikita Martinoff, Benjamin Whiting, Ryan Devins, and Hazev the Wolf. I appreciate you all so much. If you want to help out the channel just like them, the link is down in the description below, as well as the join button next to the subscribe button. This is just an extra way to help me out if you appreciate the content, and my plan in the future is to upload videos maybe a day early or whenever I get them done for members, so you might get some content a little earlier as well.